It's the Dick Talking Devil back with you again for another episode of Biblical Nonsense. Now, it's been quite a while since we've done one of these episodes, and so for those of you who are not aware, if you're religiously sensitive and you can't take your religion or belief being critiqued and ultimately utterly destroyed, then this may not be the video for you. You may want to go to another channel where they're pumping sunshine concerning your religion and the ludicrous things that you have to believe. So, before we get started, I want you guys to go ahead, hit that like button, share, subscribe, turn on those notifications so the next time there's a new video, you'll be the first to know. So in this video, I really didn't want to pull from any particular scripture or verse, right? Usually I grab my Bible and I read a specific verse from the Bible and we will elaborate on it. But I think what I wanted to really do in this video is just deal with the constant disregard for logic and critical thinking. Because as I sit and I think about why I left Christianity, why did I abandon the religion of my childhood, the religion that I had for most of my adult life as well, I look at some things that may be superficial on the surface. But the more that I think about this, it's just, I think I got fed up with constantly having to abandon logic and reason. You know, constantly as a Christian, I felt that I could not be logical or rational and still hold on to the things that I believed. You know, do I really believe that when Jesus died on the cross, all the graves in Jerusalem opened up and those dead people got up and walked home? You know, does it make sense? Am I justified in holding that position? You know, things like Joshua in the Old Testament, while he's out fighting against his enemies and he's having a difficult time defeating the enemy. And so he commands the sun and the moon to stand still in the sky, you know, so that he can have more daylight in order to defeat his enemies. Or when the children of Israel were out fighting against the enemies, their enemies, who they have deemed the enemies of God, God starts a hailstorm and kills the armies of the enemies with hail. This is, you know, this kind of stuff. It is really what's behind me leaving the religion, because for me to even entertain those things, I would have to abandon all logic and rationale. Like it's just not reasonable to believe those things. Like if you're out fighting a battle and a hailstorm ensues, the hail has no way to determine which soldiers to kill. So it would have killed just as many of the Hebrew army as it would the enemy's armies. And where in the world are we getting this idea that people are just dying from hail? Like in modern times, like I think it was the city of Mayfair that had the largest hailstorm on record. golf ball size hail falling from the sky, or softball size hail, massive chunks of hail falling from the sky. Nobody was killed. Like, no one was killed, and there was several people caught out in the storm. I think they may have been having a fair or something, but it was lots of people caught out in the hail. Some did go to the hospital for different injuries, minor injuries, no life-threatening injuries, and no loss of life. Where in the world do we get off believing this story, this nonsense, that God, in order to kill the enemies of the children of Israel, rained down hail that had face recognition software embedded in it, so that it knew exactly who to kill and who not to kill? This is ludicrous. And furthermore, if there's a fully standing army engaged in war, I'm pretty sure that they had shields. So they didn't have enough sense to put the shield up over their head to block the hail. I mean, this kind of stuff makes no sense. And you're repeatedly asked to abandon logic, to forsake reason, in order to hold on to these beliefs and this dogma, this theology that the Bible and other religions so arrogantly put forth. All right, and it to them, it seems to be a cloak of honor to disdain intellect, reason, rationale, logic. This is something that they wear with pride. The fact that I trust in the Lord with all my heart. I lean not to mine own understanding, but in all my ways I acknowledge him, and he shall direct my path. They think that this is something to be proud of. They think that not trusting in the very things that they admittedly understand, they forsake that and say, "Ah, Lord, I'm just going to go with whatever you say, even though I understand that this makes no sense. I'm going to go with whatever you say. I'm going to let you direct my path." This is ludicrous. Come on, what have we learned about allowing him to direct your path? We learned that a day's journey, a few days' journey, can turn into a 40-year extravaganza in the desert. I mean, this makes no sense. To have to constantly abandon rationale and reason, intellect, understanding, knowledge, in order to accept a belief it's just exhausting. It's very exhausting, and I think that was one of the primary reasons that I had to, at least that was what really pushed me further into researching to find the truth. You know, I think that if we utilize the same dismissal of logic and common sense and knowledge and understanding in fields other than religion, people would say rightly that we're insane, that we are insane. I know that it's long proven, it's well understood that if you stick your hand into a fire, you'll be burned. Well understood. Provided you're not wearing any protective equipment, no PPE, no insulation, nothing like that. You just stick your hand into a fire and keep it there, you'll be burned. I know that. But God, I'm not going to trust what I know and what I understand. If you tell me to stick my hand in this fire, then by golly, I'm gonna do it because God said so. People actually believe that God turned Lot's wife into a pillar of salt. That he turned a human being into a pillar of salt. Why? Because she looked back. No. She didn't commit murder or adultery or she didn't lie or steal or cheat. She simply did the human thing and looked back as supposedly fire was falling from the sky onto the city behind her. The city, mind you, where there were children, infants, elderly people, mentally disabled people. That city was being burnt to a crisp. And she looked back and God said, hey, I told you not to look back. Since you disobeyed me, I'm going to take your life. Now this is nonsense because he does this to her, a female, a woman. But what happened to all the men in the Bible that just blatantly disobeyed God? Second chance after second chance after second chance. Solomon disobeyed God. Second chance. Samson wasn't supposed to get your hair cut. Got it cut. Second chance. Come on, man. David, this wicked motherfucker who Jesus is a descendant from. Right? This wicked, evil, sadistic motherfucker named David, who had a faithful soldier in his army named Uriah the Hittite. And Uriah had a beautiful wife who liked to take baths on the roof. So when Uriah goes out to war, fighting for David's kingdom, David sees Uriah's wife bathing on the rooftop. And David say, hey, go tell her to bring me that ass. David gets her, he sleeps with her, and sends her back to the house. While her husband is out fighting for David's country, for his kingdom. When Uriah comes back from the war, he sleeps on the steps of the palace to protect David. So he's basically on guard, guarding David so that no harm can come to David. Now, this is the man who just fucked Uriah's wife. He's sleeping there. Uriah's sleeping there on the doorstep of the man who fucked his wife. And what does David do? David gives Uriah a letter and say, hey, I need you to take this out to the armies ASAP. Now, the letter said, leave Uriah the Hittite. Take him to the front lines, the hottest parts of the battle, where he will surely be cut down, and leave him. In other words, David issued an assassination order and gave it to the man whom he wanted to assassinate. So this man is carrying his own assassination order and delivers it into the hands of the man who would execute the order. Uriah the Hittite was killed in battle. And what does David do? That ass all mine now. Uriah gone. She a widow. So David takes the man's wife. But when Lot's wife looks back, God takes her life. But he does not take the life of David. He does not take the life of Noah. He does not take the life of Moses. He does not take the life of all of these men who disobeyed him multiple times. But Lot's wife looked back. I got something for your salty ass. Pillow salt. This is nonsense. You see what I'm saying? I cannot. I can't do it. Like, I cannot believe this stuff. Like, it makes no sense. And as a believer, you have to continuously work to try to make this make sense. You have to continuously abandon and neglect and disregard and ignore everything that you know, things that make sense to you, in order to hold to this belief. Makes no sense. And so, it is nonsense. On astronomical proportions, it is nonsense to continue to do this. So, this has been another episode of Biblical Nonsense. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts as well. And, as always, until next time, keep learning, my friend.